about doing this. And I bet the American people, I think the American people are so fed up, but we can't do that way. We've got to fight back, or we're losing exactly what you said, our freedom.
Remember, I told you before, my idea is not to go to Washington with a 2x4 and be so stuck that I can't move things in the right direction. I believe that we've moved so far away, we've forgotten where we want the power to be.
Exactly.
Now it's Republicans versus Democrats instead of which side, whether it's the power between the people and government, we've gone to which party has the most power.
Yeah.
If I could do, when people ask me if you could do one thing in Washington and one thing alone, what would it be? If I could restore the power back to the people, that would be my job. You have to understand, and this is the guarantee I can give you. I don't need a job. I am so happy and comfortable in my life. This is going to be a major sacrifice for our family. Remember, I told you it's about doing something and making a difference. It's going to be a sacrifice. I make no excuses. I don't sugarcoat it. I understand what it's like. I've got to make every moment I'm away from my children count. I want to come back home. I want to be able to live life. I'm not a career politician. You can call it what it is. I mean, you go there, you've got people that spend their time there. I'm not a career politician. I would like to just go. You only have so much political capital. You go and you work on those things that I told you I would work on, and that's my goal. If somebody has a good idea and is willing to work with me, absolutely. But in order for us to change this country around, we have got to work within our party and work outside of our party. There are some things that you can do. We've got some common ground. They're common ground.
Oh, yeah.
And those are the things I want to work on. I want to cut the spending. We can work on common ground. I'm sure we can find tons of money that we can cut.
You have experience doing it.
I have experience doing it. I've done it. Saratoga Springs in 2008, we dealt with the fall of the economy. We were completely dependent on building permits. We had $3.5 million of shortfall. Our property tax couldn't even pay for 1/3 of the police department. I had to find a way to make up $3.5 million. You know what we did? We cut. We cut our spending. We cut a budget. We brought that shortfall down to $78,000.
Well, and you believe in the balanced budget. That sounds good.
Well, yeah. Because guess what? By law, we're supposed to balance the budget. In our homes, we balance the budget.
Yeah.
Washington should balance the budget.
Oh, yeah.
They should balance the budget. So, I hope you understand and you can sense the sincerity in that. I'm not there to go and make a career out of this. Like I said, I have a husband that does well for our family, but I honestly believe that if I can do something and change this country around, it's positive, then it's my obligation to do it, to go out and do it.
Piggybacking on that, because I do think there's time to compromise. That's the purpose of a lawmaking body. I think, though, one of my biggest complaints is we see so many Republicans go back there and they turn into pansies. And sometimes, very bluntly, I just wish they'd grow up there and stand up and say, no. Stop the...
Well,
and
you're elected. Well, when people start saying no, they start getting booted out. That's what happens. When they start compromising way too much,
right.
It's hard. I can name a couple of things. I can name a couple of things. Here's the thing. What you need are people that are going to go to Washington that have principles that are based on. You will always know. You should know. When I talk to you about my principles, you should know Mia's going to vote this way. I know she's going to vote this way because these are the principles that she follows. Mine aren't policy to policy based. There are times to compromise, and we should, and move it in the right direction. There are times where we cannot compromise.
Right.
And that is when we are blatantly, when we're just taking the Constitution and throwing it out the window. I'm not okay with that. That's a red flag, it's non-negotiable.
I agree with that. I guess the second part though is you see so many people go back and then they lose that spot.
That's when it's time to call them home.
Well, how did you feel about the president cutting the national, the defense budget today? And, I'm a big support of, I think it's good to have a strong military.
Well,
So what is your view on that?
It's interesting. The one thing that we're supposed to do, federal government, is the thing that we cut. I will put this out there. I'd like to know what our military leaders are saying about that. If there is something that they don't need, we should be spending it. However, if there's something that we do need, we should not be cutting in those areas. That is actually what we're supposed to be doing, having a strong national defense so that we can protect Americans from threats, both foreign and domestic.
And by the time you get back, it's going to be a bigger mess than it is.
It's going to be a bigger mess. That's why we've got it. That's the reason why I say, why me, why now? One, why me, why now? One, we can't wait. Because earlier, a couple of months ago, we were talking about 15 trillion debt. Now we're talking 16. Do you realize my daughter did math? She said, every time, if I count one every second, it would take me 31,709 years to count to 1 trillion. I couldn't do it. She's like, I can't sit here and count physically. I could never do it. Count to 1 trillion, let alone $16 trillion. So we cannot wait. Why me? Why now? I've cut a budget. That's what we need to do. I've made difficult decisions at difficult times. I've had to fire people or lay them off, knowing that it wasn't my job to give them a job. And these are the people that I go to Walmart with. These are the people that I serve with in the community. These are the people that I go to church with. And I had to say, these are the principles. It's not my job to give you a job. I will do everything I can to help you find work in a community, as a member of your community. I will do everything I can. But it's not my job to give you a job. I've done it. And last but not least, you want the same results, you keep sending the same candidates. You keep sending the same messenger. You want different results, you send a different messenger. It is crunch time. We've got to do it now.
Yeah, I agree. So what is the first thing the most critical thing that you think right now in the country, the first thing that you probably want to bring up, change, that could maybe help us get back on course?
Well, I want to see, first of all, if I can get on either Agriculture Committee of the Ways and Means or Energy and Commerce. I would love that. And if as a freshman, I could get into one of those, that would be fantastic. Then what I would do is I would start tackling some of the spending. That's my niche.
Good. Mm-hmm.
That's my niche. That's the thing that threatens our freedoms here.
How would you maintain communications with your constituency here?
I don't plan on living in Washington. I plan on coming home as much as I possibly can. Whenever we're not in session, I'm here. I have children here. I have constituents here. I plan on being here as much as possible. You see, I have an anchor. I have an anchor here. And for some reason, people don't think that because I'm a mother, I should be in Washington. I say they are dead wrong. I say they're absolutely wrong. Because I have an anchor. I know I can look at my children in the face and remember what I'm going there to do. Too many people are far removed. I think that's a plus. I think they deserve to have a voice in Washington. So, I'm anchored here. That's how I live here. I choose to raise my children here. I love Utah. This is where I live. I run because it's beautiful.
Excellent. Do you have anything particular that stands out that would, obviously you're different than those that are running against you, vice versa, but is there anything particular that stands out for you, those who are also in the race?
Well, I brought up a lot of things already. I brought up I'm the only one out of everyone that's been there that actually